so you don't need to look at the camera, just look at me.
Sure.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want to hear from you your information, your full name, what is your position, and which center you are working for.
Mm-hmm. My name's Walker Giersch. I'm from America. I've been working for ILA for almost 15 years. And I'm a teacher at Ho Chi Minh 12, which is the center in Go Vap.
So can you share a specific story from your teaching experience that you find particularly inspiring?
Sure. It's not a story from my teaching experience necessarily, but it's a story I think is relevant to education and teaching English in Vietnam. When I first came to Vietnam, I lived in a small town called Long Mai in Hao Yang. And it was a very small town. And I can remember walking down the street one day, and a man rode up on his motorbike next to us. And he said, "Are you a teacher? Can you teach me English?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a teacher. Yeah, oh, yeah, sure." And I'm still here teaching, 17 years later. So I think it shows the passion that people in Vietnam have for learning and for English, and for wanting to improve their lives.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest obstacles that you have faced in your teaching career, 15 years in Vietnam, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, there's always obstacles or challenges that you face. Some of those are cultural, living in a different country. Some of it could be the weather, could be the rainy season. In terms of teaching, every day is not going to be perfect. Every student's not going to be perfect. I'm not always going to be perfect. So the most important thing is to persevere and to enjoy the things that you're successful with, recognize why those are successful, and use that to make as many successful moments as you can with your students.
Okay, so I will ask you a little bit about your 15 years working at LA.
Sure.
Yes, LA. So is there any student or any case that you remember the most?
There's a lot of different students that I remember. Recently I've been working with a student, and he deals with dyslexia. Dyslexia is a reading and language acquisition issue that some students have, where they will scramble the letters. So instead of spelling run, R-U-N, they spell it R-N-A, because their brain changes the order. So it's very challenging for him, and it's challenging for teachers too. But we've had some success. He's gaining more confidence. So that's the most recent example I have of working with a student who needs my help, and seeing some success. Hopefully we'll have continuing success with him.
Can you share more? What did you do with the student to help him improve?
Well, you need to make sure that he has time. You can't rush through an activity. He's going to need time to sort through the problem, to look at the board and see examples on the board. So visually it's difficult for him, but he needs examples on the board. So being patient is very important, understanding the problem is very important, and then working through and giving the student praise as well when they do well. Because if they feel, often these students that have this issue don't feel very good about their studying, because it's difficult. So you need to be encouraging and support them and help them to feel good about themselves, and then they'll be motivated to continue studying.
An extra question. I want to know about your background and the reason why you choose Vietnam to work as an English teacher.
Yes, well, I came here as a volunteer almost 18 years ago now. I had wanted to volunteer somewhere in Asia and be an English teacher in that position. And I found a organization out of Stanford University in California. And they offered volunteer positions in Indonesia, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, and it was a great opportunity. I was very interested in Laos, but Vietnam seemed like with a much larger population, there'd be more opportunities here, and I was interested in the history of Vietnam as well. I studied history in university, so history is always something I find interesting.
Okay, let's back to our main question. What motivated you to become a teacher, and what continues to drive your passion for education?
My mom's a teacher. My brother's a teacher. I'm a teacher. So I guess it's in my blood. Just again, going back to the student we discussed before, when you see students have success, sometimes they're students that have success all the time. Sometimes they're students that have success part of the time, and there are students who don't have success a lot of the time. And that's the motivation, is improving those students that don't see success very often or sometimes, and seeing them improve and seeing them take control over their own learning.
Yeah. So how do you personally define the model of an inspiring teacher?
An inspiring teacher, again, it's teachers that don't necessarily, they motivate students to learn on their own. That's what an inspiring teacher is. They get students to take control and to feel in control and to want to learn for themselves, not because their parents want it or their grandmom or their culture, but because they feel empowered to learn themselves.
So how do you deliver yourself as an inspiring teacher? Because this is in the world where you're chosen by your supervisor, your college.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I think the number one thing you need to show students is that they're important to you, because then their learning becomes important to them. So showing the students that you care is the most important thing.
Anything else?
No, I think that's the most important thing.
Okay.
Because when students feel like they're cared for and that you have an interest in them and what they're doing, then they take more of an interest in it.
Okay. So how do you feel when you won the inspiring teacher award?
I was surprised, definitely surprised. And yeah, it just made me feel good.
Good, okay. And so how would you describe your relationship with your college and overall working environment at ILA?
I think one of the things I strive for in my relationships with my colleagues is to make sure that regardless of what's happening for me in my day, my life, that those interactions we have are positive. So if it's working with my teaching assistant in the classroom, making sure that I'm being, a good colleague to them. If it's working with the local staff in the teacher support center, whether it's the schedulers or the CC team, other teachers, I want to make sure that they feel good about the interactions we have every day.
So what advice would you give to aspiring teachers or those who are new to the teaching?
Most important thing with teaching and developing as a teacher is to be patient. Teaching's not easy. A lot of people can do it, a lot of different personalities. There's different methods, there's different techniques, there's different personalities. So be patient, keep working, keep looking for answers. If you're not asking questions about your teaching, then you should be. Is that the best activity? Was that the best way to show the students the language, to give them the language? So ask questions. If you're not asking questions about your own teaching and how you're delivering to the students, then you should be.
Is there a particular word or motto that you live by as a teacher?
Yes. So going back to what I just said, an important motto for me is you can't learn if you don't ask questions.
So how do you maintain a work-life balance while dedicating yourself to your student and your teaching job?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's important to know when to step up and when to step back. And stepping up means you're going to take on more for a certain period of time, take on more work or do more for a certain class because you know it's necessary. But then you need to be able to take a step back and realize that you need your own time at home, on holiday, at the coffee shop, exercising, whatever it is. You need to be able to step back from your work and leave it over here and enjoy the things that you really enjoy.
Okay. So we're done with the personal question, and we will move to the part 2 about the concept innovation. Okay. So in your opinion, why innovation important in education today?
I think the most important innovation is not necessarily innovation, but how we use technology appropriately. Technology doesn't teach. Teachers teach. Technology is a tool. It's not an answer. So we need to use technology, whether it's Google Slides, smart TVs, whether it's AI, whatever it is, it's just a tool. Ultimately, students need teachers and teachers need students, and they need to be as closely working together as possible. Sometimes that's online, but the best thing is to continue those face-to-face interactions because that's when real learning happens. So innovation is important, but teachers and students working together is the most important thing.
So as you know, we have just launched the LMS, the Smart Learning System. If you have any experience link to the LMS, you can share about it.
I've just started my first class with it, so I don't have enough experience to give a good comment on that right now.
Okay. So can you share some specific examples of how you incorporate innovation into your classroom or your teaching methods?
What do you mean by innovation?
Like,
do you mean technology or?
Technology or the way you deliver the lesson more engaging, more creative?
Yeah. I mean, one of the most important things, again, is to always be questioning how well did I do that activity? How well did I deliver that lesson? So innovation isn't, technology, yes, it's an innovation, it evolves. But you need to be innovative with your own teaching methods. So again, asking questions about your own teaching, that's innovation. Doing it better the next time, that's innovation. So you may have done the same activity hundreds of times, but then the next time you do it, you have those students that aren't completing the activity at that time. Now you find a way to get them involved. That's innovation. So again, asking questions is going to drive innovation.
Yeah, good answer. So what are some challenges you face in trying to be innovative as a teacher?
I mean, yeah, I mean, teaching, it's a job, right? So when we come to work every day, it's work. So, you need to know that every day is not going to be 100% in terms of your own performance. But, constantly trying to do your best is the most important thing, I think.
So next, how you encourage your students to be innovative or creative learners?
Yeah, that's, kids are very creative. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to create a box that they need to fit into. If they start doing something and it's creative, you don't want to stop that, as long as it's within what you're trying to accomplish with teaching the language. So giving students opportunity to be creative, and to let them recognize that as something that's good is the important thing.
So how do you stay current with the new trends and technology in your education? How you apply it into your lesson to your student?
Well, I think one of the things about ILA is they do try to incorporate a lot of technology into the classrooms. We began with overhead projectors and whiteboards, and then moved into having interactive screens, and now you have the new LMS. Again, we'll see how that works. But I think working for a company that is consistently trying to use innovation and technology is important. But again, always asking questions about how am I using this technology to give the best lesson to the students. You need to ask those questions. Sometimes the technology gets in the way. Sometimes you need to leave the technology here and focus on the people. So it's understanding there's going to be a balance between technology and simply one-on-one language use.
So what advice would you give to other teachers who are looking to nurture the innovation in their classroom?
Yeah, I think we touched on this before. Again, it's particularly younger teachers that have grown up in a world with smartphones, with Wi-Fi 24/7. They have a better understanding of technology and are constantly in touch with it. So I think that's important, as it actually does help teachers who didn't grow up in that environment to improve. But at the same time, they need to recognize that the technology is just a tool. It's not everything.
So how do you see the role of innovation in education in the future?
Difficult question to answer. It changes so quickly that it's difficult to anticipate what might come next. Yeah, it's a difficult question to answer. I'm just a teacher.
Can you share your what you expect to see in the future, or you think what you think it could happen, or the innovation, is it how to say, um, sorry, 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
So will the innovation continue in the future, and how it will affect the young generation, the next generation in the future?
Yeah, again, it's a difficult question to answer. You might need Elon Musk or someone like that who has a firmer grasp of what the future might hold. I think the thing that I hope will continue, actually, is again that personal interaction that students and teachers, I think, need to have to be really successful. Again, innovation isn't just technology, it's also how we learn together. So I think it's, with AI, theoretically, innovation's going to multiply faster because AI is going to be able to make those leaps. However, are those actually good leaps of technology and innovation, or are they not going to be as useful? It's too hard to tell. So we need to be flexible.
So I have an easier question for you. So because you have 15 years experience in teaching language in Vietnam, so in a world of ever-changing technologies, so you think how will the role of the teacher change from what it was before?
I don't think it's going to change. I mean, a good teacher is, again, someone who inspires students to learn, and they create an environment where students have opportunity to learn, opportunity to be creative. If you're teaching English, it's an opportunity to use the language. So I think the basic characteristics of a good teacher, that won't change. The technology they might be using for sure will change. And that's where understanding how to adapt and to use that new technology is the key to developing your own teaching.
So the last question, can you speak Vietnamese?
Yes, some.
Yes. Can you say chúc mừng ngày Nhà giáo Việt Nam?
No.
It means happy Vietnamese
Ask me a real question.
Oh, I want to hear that really.
No, ask me a real question in Vietnamese.
Bạn có thể là nói chúc mừng ngày Nhà giáo Việt Nam.
It's not something I say very often, so my pronunciation won't be very good. Say it again one more time.
Chúc mừng ngày Nhà giáo Việt Nam.
Rồi ơi. Chúc mừng ngày Nhà giáo Việt Nam.
Yeah, again. Chúc mừng ngày Nhà giáo Việt Nam.
Chúc mừng ngày Nhà giáo Việt Nam.
Yes. Can you look at the camera? Look at the camera when you say that.
Rồi, man. Happy
cute.
Teacher's Day.
No, say it in Vietnamese, please.
Chúc mừng năm. Chúc mừng năm mới. That's so much easier. Chúc mừng ngày giáo Việt Nam.
Chúc mừng ngày
Mỗi ngày.
Yes, again, please.
Again. Put up the Vietnamese for me. It's too hard for me to remember.
You can read the Vietnamese?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, I will take it.
Because the
Why you have 15 years in Vietnam? Why you don't learn?
No, because that word, the chúc mừng này, okay, I don't know what the spelling is of the next word.
Nhà giáo,
Nhà,
teachers.
yeah, Yao I know, but nhà,
Yeah, home.
that I don't know that word, so I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how to pronounce it.